All right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well and having a great Monday so far. I did a live a few days ago and I wanted to come back on and do a part 2. So welcome to the live. Hi, Instagram. Hi, TikTok. Hi, Facebook and YouTube. I'm live everywhere. And as always, if you would like to watch the replay will be on YouTube. So you can go ahead and watch this live. The replay will be kept on YouTube. So we're talking about what is the energy of a woman who never gets overlooked. And what's really important about today's topic is that it relates to every single area of our life, right? So it's not just about relationships, romantic interactions, but actually in every area of your life, whether you're a speaker, a content creator, a career woman, a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter what your desired life choices are. Being the woman who never gets overlooked, there are going to be markers. Like when you see those posts that say, I won't tell anyone when I get rich, but there will be signs. And this is what we're talking about today. What are those signs of a woman who never gets overlooked? And it's going to be a great one. So let me see if I can get this shared. Welcome again, everybody. Let me see, live now. See if I can share this. Feel free to send this to anybody that you know that you feel like might benefit from this conversation. And definitely super excited to have everybody on, whether you're watching me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Welcome, everybody. I love going live and just kind of like getting to share with you all. And to really kind of interact with you and share a couple of things that God has been showing me. So as I said, today we are talking about how to be the woman who never gets overlooked. And I know that sometimes we do have to kind of like consider a couple of things here. And it's about this idea, women who get everything. This is the thing, the pursuit, the provision, the presence in every room. It's not always about being the prettiest. They aren't the loudest, and it's not even the ones who are doing the most. There is an essence, an energy that is about that type of woman who never gets overlooked. And it is the ones who know exactly how to move that will always have that energy of a woman who gets everything. And when you understand this about never being overlooked, there is an energy around that. And one of the things about that is knowing who you are. You know that I talk about godly femininity. I am the godly femininity mentor, and I love to help women understand who they are in God and really step into that feminine energy that God has created us with. But what I want you to understand is when you know how to move, you will never be overlooked, whether it's a job opportunity, a business opportunity, in your marriage, or if you'd like to get married. Everything I'm sharing and almost everything I share can be applied to every situation, not just in the marriage and dating space. But of course, majority of what I'm talking about is highly applicable to the dating space. I don't know if you know, but from tomorrow, the 4th of March, we have a 21-day event that we're going to be having. Let me just go ahead and share that information now. And it starts tomorrow. Here's the information here. I don't know if you can see this. Actually, let's change it to this one. Yes. So you can see it if you're watching me on Facebook, YouTube, and you can also see it if you're watching me on Instagram. And if you like the information, for those who are watching me on TikTok, send me a message and I'll send you the information. So from tomorrow, I'm hosting a 21-day experience called Magnetizing March. 21 days to be the one he can't replace, can't resist, and can't walk away from. And I think it's really important that as women, we know how to position ourselves in every area of our life. So this, as I said, relates to all seasons and all areas. So no matter where you're from, no matter what you're about, you will definitely benefit from joining us. And the link is everywhere. And if you would like the information, send me a message, and I will send you the link today, because we start tomorrow. And I've already put in there. If any of the girls who are in it already, you can comment and you can say, like, I've already put audios in there. There's already a video in there. There's already like things that we're doing actively and getting into that energy right now. So if you've ever felt like you've been overlooked, um, it's not because you're not enough. All right. And I want to be clear about this because sometimes people can make you feel like you are not enough. And that is not the case. There is never a season, there's never a time, there's never a circumstance where you are not enough. That actually doesn't exist. Let me say that one more time. There is never a season, never a circumstance, never a situation where you are not enough. And I need you to let that sink in for a moment. There is never, ever, ever a circumstance, a situation or scenario where you are never enough. And I know sometimes you can be led to feel like you're never enough based on how people respond to you and so on. But that's why this is called the energy of the woman who never gets overlooked. And even though sometimes we might, we're not perfect. So there are going to be different times and seasons where you don't quite navigate things the best way. And there might be times where you might do things out of desperation or out of anger, out of your emotions. But even in those situations, you are never a situation where you are not enough. It's usually because you aren't holding the right energy. And this is what keeps women stuck in the cycle of being overlooked, underestimated, or undervalued. And if you're listening to this and you're saying, "Oh, thank you so much. This is speaking to your soul." Yes, thank you so much. You should join me for Magnetizing March. We start tomorrow. And let me tell you a few things about this. Usually, this is how it usually looks, right? You usually over-explain instead of letting your presence do the work. Then you try to be the best option instead of embodying the only choice. And this is where you end up trying to compete with other women. So say, for example, you are you know that your guy or whatever, maybe you're not married, right? Maybe the guy that you're interested in, he talks about his ex, or you see a picture of his ex, or you see his ex-wife or whatever, and you wonder, oh, would I ever match up to that? Or you compare yourself to so and so whatever person, and what you're doing is you are in a spirit of competition, which is unnecessary, because you can never be someone else. At best, you'll be a good copy. And even then, I highly do not recommend that. What I recommend, and actually, before I get into that, the other thing you might do is you might do more instead of moving with certainty, which also goes back to what I'm saying, is that when you start to do more instead of moving, so you're trying to figure out, what do I do? Say, for example, you go to an influencer event, you're a content creator, you get invited to, they just had the Brit Awards in the UK, or they had the Oscars not too long ago. You get invited and you go there, and because you've only got 10,000 followers and the other people have got like 50,000 followers, you're feeling like you need to do more. You're wondering, you're second guessing whether you belong in the room. But the woman who knows that she's never going to be overlooked knows that she belongs in the room. And this is what we often, yes, not moving with certainty. We don't move with certainty when we second guess who we are. All right. And the truth is, whether it's men, money, opportunities, they don't really always, for us as women, this is very specific to women and our feminine energy that God has created us with. Not always do they move towards us because of the effort that we put into things. Not because we've worked hard enough to deserve it, but actually the movement happens when we work in magnetism. They move towards magnetism. A lot of the times we're chosen not because we try harder, but because we move differently. Rooms don't recognize women who beg for a seat at the table. They recognize the energy of a woman who carries knowing that she belongs there. So when you know you belong anywhere, if you've ever felt like you've had to prove your worth, yes, exactly, not striving. If you ever felt like you had to prove your worth in any situation, let's talk about it, because sometimes it can feel that way. Excuse me. And that's why we have to learn not to rely on external circumstances to tell us who we are. The fact of the matter is, God has already called you. He's already made you who you are. And you do not need to become perfect, do more, try more, any of those things. What we do need to do is when you when you um when you do something, it doesn't have the desired outcome, and you know that you look back. So what we do is we look back at what we've done. We maybe journal or pray or think about how that situation went. And then we learn from the choices that we make. We don't we don't sit there and wallow in self-pity and say, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. Why did I make that mistake? How did I get here? How comes this doesn't happen to me, etc.? But actually, we position ourselves as one who knows that she is worthy, a woman who knows she's worthy. So it's not about what other people say. That's what's really important that you got to understand, is that you've already been chosen, you've been loved, you've been covered, you've already been provided for. All it is, it's about realizing that. Okay. And so there's three things that I'm going to share with you today. This is basically like a mini masterclass of, the work that I do and so on and so forth. But three things I want to share with you today is the shift from trying to be the best option to moving like I'm the only choice. The most magnetic women don't ask, what more can I do? They already know that the right people, the opportunities, whether it's men or whatever, will recognize them, or they will remove themselves. Are you hearing me? You're not going to compete. You don't need to compete. You either allow the space to recognize you or you remove yourself. And so inside Magnetizing March, which is a 21-day activation, we're going to be starting tomorrow. I'm going to be teaching how to walk into any space and own it without ever having to say a word. Your energy will do the talking. And then number 2 is the shift from effort into presence. If you have to explain your value, then you are beginning to lower it. When you have to explain and over-explain and over-explain and over-explain. And what I've learned, even today, I had a situation, even today, and you say your piece, even if you feel hurt or confused or upset, you say what you need to say, but you allow space for a response. Because sometimes when you overtalk or over explain, you end up saying things that you might regret out of emotionalism. And that's where some of the feminine archetypes do talk about women being like overly emotional and crying all the time and things like that. But when you're emotionally intelligent, you're able to say your piece. Where to sign up? I'm gonna send you a message after this, Mamacita. Are you following me? I'll send you a message. So then the second shift is this idea of like, if you feel like you're doing more and receiving less, then you're not in your magnetism. And honestly, it's easy to fall out of the magnetism because of the world that we live in. We live in such a fast-paced world. We're on the internet, we're on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're on a fast-paced world. I'm literally live all over the world on 4 platforms at the same time. And so there's this speed of, if I don't do it now, what's going to happen? But here's this: magnetic women let men, rooms, and opportunities lean in towards them. We hold stillness instead of rushing. And it's so funny because it's really interesting how God works. Because when I got the idea for this seminar, for this 21-day activation, I was thinking about it, and everything was cool. And then different things come and different storms happen, and now I understand why we are doing this. Because even in the way that I responded to something today, I could see the growth. Because sometimes when a situation happens, we want to over explain, we want to make sure our voice is heard. But you give a person opportunity to do that, and then if they don't want to, it's okay. It's actually okay, because they will feel your energy. They will know what kind of a class of a woman you are. And yes, exactly, God is calling you into stillness. Absolutely. I believe, and I know this sounds like such a cliche, but I believe that everybody who's meant to hear this message is going to hear it. And that when you understand this, in Magnetizing March, we're going to be talking about mastering the art of feminine presence, the kind that makes people like obsess over you even when you're not around. And I know everyone has different ideas as to what that looks like, but let's move into the third shift. and then we're going to wrap up very, very soon. The third shift is to move from trying to be noticed to making them feel your absence. And the most powerful women are not the ones who speak the loudest. I've said this over and over again. Even though I'm a preacher, so I'm a preacher, Pentecostal girl, and when I'm speaking, I can get quite, energetic, and I can get loud, and I can do it in that way. But it's only because of the emotions and the style of which I'm teaching in, right? However, the most powerful women are the ones whose absence is felt deeply. So when she's not around. When you're not seeing her messages come up on her phone, on your phone. When she doesn't attend things, because your stillness will make them move. When a room recognizes your power, your silence holds weight to the point where they will see you and then they will ask you, what do you think? This happens to me so many times where I won't involve myself in a conversation, but what I will do is listen, take notes, smile and listen, and do all the social cues to engage in a conversation without speaking. And then usually what will happen is, and I've noticed this happens all the time, someone will ask me, oh, what do you think, Rachel? Or it depends on the circumstance, whatever title I have in that room. If I'm in a room and I'm pastor, they'll be like, hey, Pastor Rachel, what do you think? Or whatever, what do you think? And so it depends. But I've noticed this happens more and more in my own life. But when you master magnetism, you don't have to force presence. Your energy does the work. And this is why you don't have to overchase. You don't have to overgive or earn pursuit. This is really important. Ladies, you do not have to earn pursuit. When you hold this energy of knowing, your pursuit becomes inevitable. Things that the Bible says in Ephesians 3:20 that greater than your biggest request, your most unbelievable dream, like more than you could ever desire, God will outdo them all, which shows me that when I'm focused. And then another scripture says, so let's mirror some scriptures right now. There's another scripture that says that seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added. So when you seek the things in the kingdom is love, joy, peace, righteousness, and joy, right? So when you seek who God is, joy, peace, love, what and you focus on making this world in here like that, all those things will be added unto you. Do you see? Because when you are focused on trying to get his attention, make sure that he proposes. You want to, oh, let me cook, let me do these things, let me do this, let me do circus antics in the bedroom, and he's going to think I'm such an amazing woman and he's going to have to marry me. Or let me put myself for this opportunity and make sure everybody sees it so I get encouraged. No, you won't have to do that. Thank you. You won't have to do this. When you hold the energy, then you will see that your life will change. And I'm going to give you one example from the Bible that you might not know that much about. So the daughters of Zelophehad, they're women who took up space and they received their inheritance. In the Bible, Numbers chapter 27. And it's not a big story that people talk about a lot. That the Lord said, so basically their dad died. Okay. So in the old days, and even in some cultures today, if there's no male sons and stuff like that, then the inheritance just basically goes to nobody, goes like to the next male relative. But however, the daughters of Zelophehad, they went to Moses and they said, listen, we are the daughters and we would love to get the inheritance of our father. And the Lord told Moses, because Moses didn't know what to do because he'd never experienced women who knew how to position themselves. He'd never experienced women who knew that, wait, God must have mercy on us, even though we don't have a brother, we don't have a husband. And God said to Moses, the daughters of Zelophehad are right. You shall give them the possession of inheritance among their father's brothers and transfer the inheritance to them. So the uncles were going to get the inheritance and the girls were going to be left without anything. The lesson here is that these women were not overlooked. They walked into the space that was never given to women before, and they claimed what was theirs. They weren't over aggressive, they weren't shouting. They literally said, listen, we're the only seed left of our dad. And we know that women don't normally get this role. And we're not going to fight about it, but we'd love to see, is it possible that we could get the inheritance that was owed to us? They didn't beg. They simply knew that they deserved access because they're daughters. This is why I call you, ladies, divine daughters of destiny. Because when you know who you are, you position yourself correctly. You come to the place and you say, listen, you just lay it out and you let people respond. Sometimes we don't let people respond. Sometimes all we want to do is argue. We want to play our case. We want to share whatever. Sometimes that's what we want to do. But as you lean into your own femininity, your feminine energy, and you realize that actually who God has made me to be means that I can continue to be the woman of my own dreams. And so that's why I'm inviting you to join me for Magnetize in March. We start tomorrow officially. But ladies that are inside it already, you've already received some activations. And I'm going to send, if you're on TikTok, send me a message and I will send you the link. Instagram, you can see it right there. It's in my stories. It's in my link in bio, and Facebook and YouTube. It's right there as well for you to join me. It's only $27 and we start tomorrow officially, but we've already started. You know, there's some activations already in there, and I've got some bonuses coming as well that I haven't spoken about yet. But once you're in, you'll get those bonuses. It's only $27 for the 21 days. And so listen to this. God himself validated those women. That's what happened. God validated them. And so you can see throughout the scriptures and throughout your life, when you change your position, then you'll change what you're able to receive. When you change your position, you'll change what you're able to receive. And this is what is really interesting. So I'm going to close up right now. Magnetism isn't just about being chosen in love, which I'm sure I've broken that down for you today. It is about standing in your inheritance in every area of your life. My dad was teaching the other day about some of the blessings that, my dad and I, we both teach at a Bible school. And I went into his class to listen to something, and he was teaching about how some of the promises that are just non-negotiable. There are some things that God is going to give us regardless. But there are other things that we have to step into. And this is one of those times, ladies, where you have to know that inside of the 21 days, there's a few other women in the Bible that I want to go into. But just for today, I want to say this, that when you move with the certainty that favor, love, and wealth are already meant for you, everything in your life shifts. When you move with that certainty, it makes a massive difference as to how you're able to receive. Because sometimes the reason why we don't receive things is not because of opportunities, lack of opportunities, our response. Are you in a position? And here's the thing, and I'm definitely gonna wrap this up in like 1 minute. Sometimes we can have an element of pride where we don't want to change things because we think we know everything. I've come to this place in my life where I don't know everything. And there are days when I'm going to be tested, even in my own feminine energy. I'm going to be tested on the level of magnetism that I carry. I'm going to be tested in my ability to hold space. And like I said, I was tested with something today. And just before we jumped on, I was going through the conversation, and I realized that I did well. I said, yes, well done, Rachel, because you've got to give yourself permission to know that you might not get everything right, but your ability to hold the line and to say that I don't know everything, and therefore I'm ready to listen and see where can I change. So even for me, this journey of magnetism is a daily thing. You're never at a place where you know everything. All right. And so that is what we're going to talk about in our 21 days together. So if you would like to join me, feel free to type on the screen I'm in, and then I will send you the link today. If you can't find it, I'm going to go ahead and send it out today. And I'm definitely excited because these 21 days are going to be absolutely amazing. We are talking about being the one he can't replace, the one he can't forget, resist, and can't walk away from. But of course, we are talking about every scenario in our life. This is not just related to dating. And you can hear, like in the examples that I gave, I've given you several different examples and ways that we break down in today's short mini masterclass, which was, it's been about 25 minutes. But you can use things that I've said in order to move now in your own life. All right. So God bless everyone. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.